Right. Let's kick off this explainer with a pretty mind-blowing reality. Just think about the number 3. In roughly 70 years of space exploration, only 3 countries have ever sent humans into space entirely on their own. We're talking their own rockets, launching from their own soil. The US, Russia, and China. That's it. That's the entire list.
But you know what's really fascinating? Quietly, and honestly with almost zero primetime media coverage, this incredibly exclusive club is about to get a brand new member. India is literally weeks away from completing a final technical milestone to become number 4. And the craziest part? The secret to pulling this off wasn't found in some massive, fiery rocket launch. It was actually hidden inside a routine press release about a parachute.
So, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into India's secret Ascent. We are going to connect the dots between what looks like a totally minor parachute test and a massive foundational shift in the global technological order.
Okay, to understand this, we've got to start with the mission itself. Gaganyaan. It's a Sanskrit word that basically translates to sky vehicle. Now, on paper, it sounds pretty straightforward, right? Pop 3 Indian astronauts into low Earth orbit, about 400 kilometers up, leave them there for 3 days, and bring them back. Simple. Except, bringing them back alive is the ultimate test of human engineering. Re-entry into Earth's atmosphere is basically a kill zone. You've got a spacecraft slamming into the atmosphere, heating up to a terrifying 1600 degrees Celsius. The only thing standing between the crew and complete incineration is absolutely flawless engineering.
And that brings up a really crucial difference when we talk about spaceflight. See, if you're launching a standard communication satellite, a 99% reliability rate is a massive success. But when you put humans on board, human spaceflight has absolutely zero tolerance for mostly working. A crew module parachute has to work perfectly 100% of the time without fail. And that makes the latest update from ISRO, India's space agency, an absolutely monumental deal.
Let's actually walk through what they just pulled off. Back on July 8th, ISRO ran this critical test called IMAT-05. Picture this. They take a massive dummy module, the exact same size and weight as the real one, and toss it out of an aircraft 2.5 kilometers up in the air. First, a smaller drogue parachute shoots out just to stop the module from tumbling wildly. Then the main parachutes deploy, slamming the brakes on the payload and dropping it from hundreds of kilometers an hour to a completely safe, gentle terminal velocity. And they nailed it. They flawlessly executed this entire sequence under the absolute maximum stress conditions imaginable.
Following the test, ISRO put out a statement noting that they had achieved the necessary confidence in the performance and reliability of the system. Now, in the hyper-cautious world of aerospace, that is basically rocket scientists speak for, we are done here. They don't need to test it anymore. They have officially and successfully qualified the main parachute system for the first uncrewed Gaganyaan flight.
To really grasp how huge this is, let's look at the timeline. The Prime Minister announced this mission way back in 2018. Then, boom, they get hit with nearly 2 years of brutal COVID lockdowns and global supply chain nightmares. And here's the real kicker. It's not like ISRO could just hop online and buy a human-rated parachute system from the US or Russia. No way! They had to design it, watch it fail, redesign it, and iterate entirely from scratch. To push through all of those unprecedented global roadblocks and finally clear this test in July, it's just a massive triumph for homegrown engineering.
So because of all that relentless work, the checklist for their G1 mission is practically done. Their heavy-lift rocket, the LVM-3, which already successfully went to the moon, by the way, is now officially human-rated. The crew module? Built. Escape system? Qualified. Parachutes are totally cleared, and the ground systems are fully ready. Basically, India is stepping right up to the starting line for the G1 mission, which is the final, ultimate, uncrewed dress rehearsal before real astronauts actually get strapped in.
All right, hold that thought for a second because we need to pivot. While all this incredible technical stuff is happening, there's a totally different, almost invisible geopolitical chess game being played at the exact same time. During the recent India-Australia annual summit, Australian Prime Minister Albanese casually mentioned that they're commissioning a temporary space tracking terminal on the Cocos Keeling Islands to support Gaganyaan. And man, the mainstream media completely missed the true significance of this one little quote.
Now, you might be scratching your head thinking, why there? I mean, the Cocos Keeling Islands are out in the middle of nowhere. It's this tiny, obscure coral atoll with maybe 600 residents sitting nearly 3,000 kilometers away from Perth in the eastern Indian Ocean. There's practically nothing on this island. And yet, suddenly it's hosting a fully operational ISRO tracking station built by an Australian defense tech company.
Well, the secret is all in the geography. Technically speaking, as the Gaganyaan capsule descends toward its splashdown in the Arabian Sea, India's ground stations hit a bit of a blind spot. This tiny island perfectly plugs that telemetry gap, making sure they never lose contact with the falling spacecraft. But if you zoom out a bit on the map, you realize this atoll sits right on top of the most critical maritime corridor on Earth. Every single ship moving from the South China Sea into the Indian Ocean sails right past it. So essentially, Australia just handed India a massive strategic vantage point over global shipping lanes, seamlessly disguised as a civilian space tracking station.
And this right here is exactly why we need to shift our perspective. This is why space exploration is almost never just about space. Becoming the fourth country to put humans in orbit isn't just some symbolic feel-good moment where you plant a flag and take a picture. It is a loud, undeniable industrial reality. It's a declaration of sovereign manufacturing. You are basically broadcasting to every major tech firm, sovereign wealth fund, and defense partner in the world. We are a top-tier technology superpower, and we can handle the most complex, unforgiving engineering environments on the planet.
Just look at history. It proves that human spaceflight is an insane economic catalyst. I mean, the US Apollo program directly sparked the digital revolution. It literally gave us GPS and miniaturized computers. China's program practically birthed the world's second-largest commercial launch market and is fueling their massive lunar ambitions today. When a nation dares to pull this off, it fundamentally transforms their entire industrial capacity forever.
And if you're wondering what the financial payoff for all this risk and investment actually is, take a look at that number, $1 trillion with a T. The commercial stakes here are absolutely staggering, with the global space economy expected to cross that $1 trillion mark by the year 2040. Right now, India only captures a tiny slice of that pie. But if they can demonstrate reliable, independent human spaceflight, that's the ultimate VIP pass. That's the credential that unlocks the most lucrative, high-value sectors of this massive future market.
And you'll see that this space ambition ties directly into a much larger global strategy. Just look at the newly launched ACIT Trilateral Tech Pact. It's almost like a geopolitical dream team of democratic middle powers, combining their specific superpowers. You've got Canada bringing in its world-class artificial intelligence research. Australia brings critical minerals and, of course, that vital island tracking infrastructure we were just talking about. And India brings massive manufacturing scale and an incredibly skilled digital workforce.
So, what's the endgame of all these overlapping alliances? It's all about building a multipolar hedge. These countries are actively teaming up to construct an entirely new technology architecture and an independent supply chain. Why? Because they want a buffer against both Chinese market dominance and, frankly, American political unpredictability. And the Gaganyaan mission is the ultimate proof of concept for this entire strategy. India is proving to its partners that it can build hyper-complex, critical infrastructure totally on its own.
Let's actually weave all these threads together for a second. Look at what happened in just one single week. The Gaganyaan parachute system was cleared for flight, that Indian Ocean tracking station went operational, a massive uranium deal was signed with Australia, and the ACT Tech Pact was officially launched. The absolute biggest takeaway from this explainer is that literally none of these things happening in the exact same week was a coincidence. It is an absolute masterclass in orchestrated geopolitical positioning, and it's happening right in front of us.
But, amidst all this grand geopolitical chess and billion-dollar strategy, we absolutely cannot forget the human element. Right at the very center of this massive web are 4 actual people: Prashant Balakrishnan Nair, Ajit Krishnan, Angad Pratap, and Shubhanshu Shukla. These 4 Gaganauts have been grinding through rigorous training since 2020. They are the guys who are actually going to strap into that tiny module, ride a controlled explosion into orbit, and risk their lives to physically push their nation into the future.
At this point, it's no longer a question of if this will happen, but when. And that when is very, very soon. So as this final uncrewed dress rehearsal approaches, and as these new, powerful global alliances solidify, you really have to ask yourself, are you ready for the new global space order? How is this rapidly shifting multipolar reality going to shape our technology, our economy, and honestly, our collective future? Thanks for hanging out and exploring this fascinating topic with me today. I'll see you in the next explainer.